Hey, friends, welcome back to the Faith to Impact podcast. It's so good to be with you, and I'm super excited to be able to talk about today's episode about how to not say sorry all of the time. And this is something that I didn't realize, I had a problem with, but that it was really detrimental and really hard on, my relationships, on my health, on my own happiness. And so I'm excited to dive into that. But I really quickly wanted to just give a quick update as far as, the podcast goes, that this is, I know it's been a little bit, wishy-washy as far as like when episodes have been coming out and things like that. But I've decided that what we're going to do is we're going to do it every Monday. So Monday is a great day to be able to start the week. I know there's a lot of people that say, oh, today's a Monday, right? Oh, it's a Monday. And they have this kind of negative connotation with it, but like, why not change that? Let's change that and focus on what matters most. And so that's really what we're going to be doing, is posting this every Monday so that we can really look at, hey, what matters most? What can I focus on this week? And maybe that changes, every week or every month or whatever for you. But, talk about faith, family, impact, and then just focusing on the things that matter to you. And so that's what we're going to be doing. So just stay tuned for that. And it also might just be, posting YouTube videos to, Facebook and otherwise, and then basically focusing on, face or on YouTube and on the podcast. So, details to come and things like that. But I just wanted to give you a quick update on that so you can expect those on Monday. So thank you so much again for being here. And so let's dive into today's topic. So today's topic is about not saying sorry all of the time. And I know that there's a lot of people that struggle with this. I used to struggle with this a lot. And I didn't really realize that it was that big of a problem. So, I know what's interesting is Amy has a much more, I guess, what's the right word? I was just thinking it's funny because my siblings, we all tended to marry people with very strong personalities. That's what I was looking for strong personalities. They like to lead. They love to be able to, have conversations, to be able, they're not scared about talking about things. But I grew up being a little bit more hesitant to talk about things, especially if they're contentious and we had different, ideas. It was kind of like, oh, I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to do these different things. And so I remember, especially early on in our marriage, that Amy would say things and, maybe correct me or, have these different things. And I think a lot of times I would just say, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry that I did that. I'm sorry that, I'm that type of person. And it was something that I just used to fall back on, that I would go and say, oh, I'm sorry. And that it was one of those things that a lot of people didn't, really, think about. But anyways, so what happened is, I just remember that this was a problem that I was having, that I was not really taking care of myself because I was always just saying sorry. And what happened is I just started believing that I was the problem. I believed that I was the problem for all these different things. And so even later on in our marriage, Amy and I would have these conversations and I would just say sorry. But it was something that I maybe didn't even do wrong. And it was something we just needed to talk through. But I would always just default to just saying I'm sorry because that was easier than having a hard conversation. And so I didn't really know that this was such a problem until it was later on when I started to have some of these kind of dark moments where I really didn't like myself, where I started just saying really mean things about myself and I was talking negatively about myself. And it'll be interesting to see, like, I'll have to go in my journal too to see if that's something I battled with before. I probably did, but I don't know. It's just really interesting to see that. But I couldn't really understand what the problem was until I understood that I needed to love myself and take care of myself. So that was one major shift that I found, is that I needed to take care of myself and be okay with, spending some time on things that I wanted to do and really loving myself. Because when I learned to love myself, that's when I really started to shift and to change. But really the tip and the thing that I wanted to share with you, that if you struggle with saying I'm sorry all of the time, there's one really simple thing that you can do, that you can change, you can start doing, that'll make a massive impact in your life. It'll really change everything about this whole situation. And it'll take some time, but really what that is I can't honestly remember where I learned this. Actually, maybe it was on an Instagram post where someone was saying, hey, rather than saying I'm sorry, you could say this, right? And so that's what I want to share with you today. And so rather than saying I'm sorry, what I want you to think about is about saying thanks for your patience. Okay, so thanks for your patience is really that shift that I was able to use, that rather than saying I'm sorry all the time, that I was able to say, thanks for your patience. And so obviously it's important for us to be sorry when we really are sorry, right? If we're sorry, then we should say that, and we should genuinely do that. But if you struggle with saying sorry all the time when maybe it doesn't even make sense, right? Like maybe we're just having a conversation and you're just like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. Like I think there's so many times where we say that and it's not really the right phrase. It's not the right thing. And a lot of times the thing is that's going to internally affect you. That's going to negatively affect yourself by saying, I'm sorry all of the time. And so rather than doing that, saying thanks for your patience makes such a difference. And I've used that everywhere. Like I use that at work. I use that, in my relationships. And it really has helped me to have a better outlook on myself, to be more positive about myself. And so that's what I want you to do. Like if you find yourself saying that I'm sorry too much, then simply change that phrase to thanks for your patience. Because it just, first of all, brings in gratitude, which I think is really powerful, right? Anytime we can be grateful, I think it's really good. It also shows like kind of just more, I guess, a stronger, belief about yourself, and it has more confidence in yourself. And so that's what I encourage you to do, is to just use that phrase. And that one phrase will seriously change how you do things. And I hardly say I'm sorry now. There are definitely times when I really am sorry and it really needs to be said. But other than that, I almost always say thanks for your patience. If I wanted to respond to someone faster than I did, I can say, thanks for your patience. Thank you for being patient with me. But here's my reply. So rather than saying, hey, I'm really sorry about being late, and maybe you are sorry at the same time, but I really have found that it really brings a lot more positivity even to that conversation of just saying, hey, thank you so much for your patience. I got caught up here and there or whatever, but then it just allows that conversation to be a lot better where you say, hey, I'm sorry, then you're more negative, and then it brings that to the relationship and to that friendship as well. And so that's the one thing that I have for you. So I know it's not super crazy, but by small and simple things, great things can come about. And I know that that's been very true for me as well. So I encourage you to go and do that, just to change that simple phrase from I'm sorry to thanks for your patience. And I know it'll make a huge difference for you too. So thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you, and hope you have an amazing week. And I want to encourage you to focus on what matters most. So obviously we talk about faith, family, and impact. And so look at those and make sure that that's important. I believe one of the best things with that is just to have it be a part of yourself, right? That your faith, your family, making a difference in the world is just who you are, because then everything else will just fall into place. But, really take a minute to look at what really matters this week. And maybe it's not even in one of those areas right now, but it's something else that's going to help you focus on that. And so I encourage you to do that. Encourage you to take a minute, look at that thing that you can do this week that'll make a big difference. Because again, I'm continually amazed by this when we do small and simple things that it makes a huge difference. So thanks so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. And we'll catch you next week.